Alright, everybody. Today we're going to be playing more Doodle Empires. It's been a long time since I made a video on YouTube, let alone play Doodle Empires. So, I'm very confused with what's going on here. There's a lot more than I remember. Pangea. That's fun. But there's a lot more than I remember. I don't know what this default thing does. I think you need to, like, set something to it, but I don't know. I guess we could start a new season, I guess, of this. Yeah, why not? So, for this season, we're just gonna do world map again, and yeah, let's get to it. All right, we're just gonna have the normal freaking things to start off with. All right, so let's. It's been a long time since I did this. Holy cow! So, I'm going to start with. This doesn't make very much sense, but I'm gonna actually, for fun, I'm gonna start with like Prussia. So I'm gonna get like a nice purple here, and I'm going to, oh my goodness, the horizontal thing. Prussia. Oh my goodness. Russia. So Prussia is going to try to remember how Prussia's laid out. I'm gonna have them start around in this area, and then they're gonna start to kind of go down here, this way. Like that. It's not real. I'm pretty sure it's not actually how pressure looks in real life, but it doesn't need to be how pressure looks in real life. And I'm also going to be making up names every once in a while. Try to make a good mixture this time around with fake names and real names, or combinations of the two. Alright, that's a really big pressure, so I'm going to stop it. Actually, you know what? Really quick. We're going to go to the settings here, and I'm going. Wrong settings. Game settings, and I'm going to go ahead. And I'm going to turn down splits immediately because I don't know why it's so high. They might have fixed the splits that you like fully right now, but whatever. It might just be only an issue for me. But I'm also going to turn down the drawing power to about that much. See how that works. Alright, we can only select Prussia. They're going to do a large expand, but since I did the new thing, it should be less of an less humongous this expand. I do like that they added more like things, because if I use this, I can, on the edge of it, I can make the borders look a little bit more natural, even though they're not too natural, no matter what I do. And then I guess I can kind of do more of like that. I don't know. And then I guess I can kind of start going along there. And I guess I can start going down this way. Sorry. Give me a second. There. And I guess I can start taking some of that. This is a big, big country. The heck is that button? Whatever. I don't know what that does. I don't want to press it and then something bad happens. Yeah, I'm gonna turn it down even more in the settings. The drawing power, because it is insane for the map I'm doing this on. How much I'm getting. There. Yeah, I don't know why I even bother pressing the randomize button. Okay, we got a split. That's good. Hungry, why not? There. Let's do kind of a green is going like that. And then they're going to start over here. Like that. And then kind of through in there, I guess. Alright. I know I have so much more left, but I just don't feel like doing any more than that. Alright, we're going to do a draw card. They're going to do a large expand here. Okay. I clicked them. Yeah. I don't know why it does that for me, but sometimes it shows the wrong color. And yeah. I guess I can start going into Finland. I guess that's kind of fun. Like that. That's fun, I guess. Got in Sweden here. I guess they're gonna connect back up there. Alright, randomize. I got back to Hungary, of course. Age of Division started. That's probably good. I don't want to start with them again. Split. Alright. Northlands, why not? That's fun. Because it's like Sweden and Finland, so like Northland, because they're like Nordic. There. Alright. And then kind of want to do kind of that color. And I was gonna start in Finland. There. And then I'm gonna grab you, and then I'm gonna go over it and adjust some things here. Look at that. And then they're going to finish taking that, and they're going to take part of that and kind of take that. Take some bit of area in Estonia here. Like that, there. I think that'll be good enough. Let's do another randomize. It's going to be them again. You're going to have a union. I'm not doing that. Not happening. I'll just be them again. They want to build a castle. Let's do Copenhagen. Copenhagen. There. Okay, and then Prussia is going to found a religion. I guess I could do Catholic. I think they were Catholic, if anything, right? I'm not quite sure. Northland. They're gonna do small expand. I'm gonna start going this way into there. And you know what? For fun, why don't they make a little colony on day UK? And then they're gonna have a union. Not happening. Hungary. Okay, well, I can do that. I guess we could do like a Poland, I guess? Oh yeah, I can make up names. Kurt. No. Kurt. 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 There. There we are. That's fun. Okay. So I guess let's do a red. And they're gonna be this little thing here. Will be where they are. And just kind of get in this little area there. Hungary is going to do a large expand. I'll take a little bit of land from them, but not too much. And then they're going to start going down to Italy, because why not? Because they were going to go that way, but now they can't, and they don't really want to deal with the going over the freaking Appalachians. A really loud high pitched noise to start playing where I'm recording. I don't think you can hear that. If you can, I'm very sorry, because it is really annoying, and I have headphones on. I don't know, sometimes that happens. Hasn't happened in a while, though, so it's happening now. Kind of surprised me a little bit there. Hungary's gonna do another thing. A small expands. Fun. They just love Italy apparently, and apparently down there, because they really want to get more Italy. All right, Kurt is going to do a small expand, a small split actually. Never mind. I think you can hear that. Maybe not. I could just do Switzer. Instead of Switzerland, it's just Switzer. Nothing too not too much letters that aren't very necessary. Just Switzer. And now it's gonna be kind of red, but because I want Switzerland to be that, but kind of a weird looking red. I'm gonna collect it. But now Switzerland or Switzer is going to make a religion. Neutralism. That's not how you spell neutral, Logan. Let's put it. Let's do Protestant. Why not? There. And it's gonna be kind of similar to a gold, but more of that type, that kind of shade of gold. And then Switzer's gonna do another thing. They really like religion, and they just can't. But they're also very picky. So I don't know what's going on in there. All right, Prussia is going to have another split. I need a combo name of. Well, actually, no, I don't technically need that. I could do Slavia. Why not? Just like, because there's not all, but there is a good chunk of things that aren't Slavic, but there's still a pretty good amount of Slavic stuff in this, like, chunk here. So I guess I can do Slavia, and it doesn't have to be too accurate to real life. It is just a video game. Alright, I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna kick it off with that. There. That's huge. I wanna see what they do. Large expand, wow, they really like just going everywhere, dude, don't they? They're going to kind of help clean up the borders here. They're going to actually take a bunch of land from Hungary. And then they're going to start going more this way. Why not? Hungary is, I think I pressed that twice on accident, but whatever. Hungary is going to have a union with, no, yeah, actually, yeah, Switzerland. Why not? Or Switzer. And then Kurt is going to have a small split himself, which I'm not actually going to do. Kurt is going to have a small expand there. Alright, let me just help kind of kick all the Hungary, like all that Hungary land out of there. Because they just don't want the Hungary being there, I guess. Or maybe it was a deal. Large expand for, I think, oh, it was Hungary. And Hungary didn't like that, so in fact they don't like it so much that they actually find a way to go over the mountains. They start taking land over here, not necessarily really attacking them, but They are going over the land there. Although they aren't very control of this region of the mountains, it's like they just have no control over it, even if on paper it's that there is their land. So I'm just not gonna draw there, and also saying that just so I can save some freaking thing. And then they're gonna start going down the peninsula a bit more here. Alright, they're gonna have a split. It's not gonna be them because they started it. That's where the capital is, and they don't want to lose power. So where would it be? Either Sweden, Swede. I'm gonna do Swedway, Swedway, because Norway and Sweden come. It's so stupid, but whatever. And they're gonna start kind of in there, and then they're going to kind of just do the bit of that. That's nice. What are they gonna do? They're gonna get a new leader. Cool. And then what are they gonna do? Age of conflict. Select a nation. That's gonna be fun. Kurt doesn't really like this new arrangement with them, so I'm not gonna do that stupid split. But I was saying Kurt doesn't really like this new arrangement, so I'm hoping that I'm gonna get an expand for them to kind of like show that. All right, that's the first adopted religion. That's nice. Okay. And then yes, because of that, so now they're going to start pushing in to this way, trying to kick them out. Why the troops are distracted there with Hungary, they take a good amount of land from this basin, which they have been wanting for a long time. And then Prussia is now more of just, it's just Germany basically, nothing more, nothing less. Now, at least. They're going to push a little bit down into there. And I guess they are going to go to war with Slavia and try to take back some of their original land. But Hungary and Slavia are are like good friends. They trade a lot and stuff. Slavia is helping Hungary with the war that they're in with Kurt. So then Prussia starts going down to there. It's time to turn into a full-on world war to try to combat this. And while they're doing this, they decide to make allies with Kurt because they both have a very similar batch of enemies. And while the progression into Slavia is not doing too good, they're doing great when it comes to taking advantage of the fact that they're now at war with Hungary, because so much of their troops are over here in this little pile, or were moved down in here, but they do reach this pretty quickly. But since they already gained so much land, it was kind of hard to stop them, but they do eventually start to slow down, and then they start to focus on here a bit more, but they aren't aware that there's troops here, and then it stops because Kurt was on their way to tell them, but like they sent a little ambassador, but it didn't really work out for them. And then eventually they start taking land over here to try to kind of encircle them a little bit there. Northland is going to have a large expand, and they're going to start attacking a little bit of that, but eventually they make it a little treaty. And then they're going to start to try to kind of encircle this, but Slavia doesn't really like that, so they declare war, but there's no battle just yet until I'm not sure yet, but they are technically at war, even if there isn't really any battles like we can really see being displayed of like land exchange on a map. So eventually they just I think you might be able to hear that loud annoying noise. I'm so sorry. And yeah, so then they're just gonna kind of encircle that. It's just kind of weird looking and not very smart of them. In the grand scheme of things, this is not a good idea. But since they already have all this land, they start expanding a little bit outwards, but not too much. Sweeway does a medium expanse, and they buy some land from there. That is land of ethnic Swedish people. So they start to take a lot of this land here. And then, oh, we won't let me randomize, stay back. Kurt is going to have an origin diverge. It's a weird origin diverge. Out of all the countries, have one. Alright, they're gonna do another thing too. Yes, new leader. Cool. Interesting. I selected it again and it didn't do anything. There Sweeway is going to do meaning expand, buy some more land from them. And then they're gonna start kind of going up in this little area here. There is one like dispute that's happening between Norseland and Sweeway. That was the fact that now the capital and like the capital has like a little bit of land that's like really low populated surrounding it, and the rest of the very populated land, well, at least for their country, very populated. Because if you think about it, the land that they have is, it might be a lot of land, but it's not that populated. But like most of their land, the vast majority of their population that is in the capital is over here, like not in here. So then they're very disconnected. Sweetway does allow them to go through it, but it's just very inconvenient. So that does make the relationship a little bad, but it is still not the worst since they are very connected. Even if they did, even if Sweetway did get independence pretty recently. Kurt does medium expand down to this way, fully securing this front for them. And then they start going down here. And they kind of split Hungary in two a bit there. I'm not doing that small split. I want to do an expand for them. Yeah, okay, there. And then they will, and that pressure will take advantage of this, and they'll take land down in here, trying to take as much as they can. There. Randomize. Sweetway is going to build another castle. Well, not build another, build a castle. This is going to be Stockholm. I say spelled Stockholm, right? I'm not completely sure, but I'm pretty sure. That's not exactly where it is, but it's close enough. And Slovia. Origin diverge. That makes more sense for an origin diverge. It's also named after like a people group, so kind of makes sense. Prussia is going to do medium expand, take even more advantage of Hungary, whose little situation being most of their army being, the majority of their army being defeated down there. This part of, and a lot of the civilians are actually, there's of course like pushback and still soldiers there, but a lot of civilians in this area are fine with it because, not fine with it necessarily, but like they're not against the idea of being under a different nation, because Hungary wasn't really, they were kind of neglecting them, just using their land to exploit their resources, and they didn't really like that. And although they're still going to be exploiting resources, Prussia is still like for the land that has been mostly annexed. They're repairing, and they are giving the people, civilians, their food. But they are planning on making it in the future where, even though they are doing this, they will make it so if you were somebody that they helped after they took over your land, you have to join the army. they're gonna make it like that. So then they take a little bit of land there, but eventually peace is declared for that side of the front. There's only a few wars still going on. It's like no, like let's say that Sylvia and Prussia are still at war, but Kurt, much to the disliking of Prussia, but they're still technically allies despite of this, is not is aiding well it is aiding Prussia, but is refusing to send any troops to Slovenia or anything like that because but Prussia and Slovenia are at war or still at war, and Northland and Slovenia are still at war. But that's like a completely different matter and hasn't actually land exchange. We'll see how long that lasts. And then Hungary is going to do a medium expand, and they're going to make a deal with Prussia to get a lot of their, not all of it, but like a good bit of their land back here in exchange where Prussia gets to set up some like things to get resources in that area and a few other things. Alright, we're gonna finish this Age of Conflict and then we're gonna wrap up the video. Northland is going to do a medium expand here, and they're actually going to start attacking them randomly because to take advantage of the fact that they're still technically really trying to not necessarily end the war, but like try to prevent Prussia from sending soldiers for the longest time they can before they start sending soldiers, or at least until they are prepared and they're able to defend. Alright, Sweeway, for the last thing that's gonna happen, Sweeway is gonna do medium expand, and I guess they're gonna take this, and they're going to start going up this way. And I think that'll be good for this episode. Link to the Discord will be in the description if you enjoyed. And if you want to see more of me, make sure you hit the subscribe button and leave a comment if you want to have any recommendations for this new season. And goodbye.